It is 4 days to Christmas and the feeling is in the air. The roads are busier, markets, malls and motor parks are crowded as Nigerians are busy getting what they need for the celebration, while others are traveling to different parts of the country to spend the special holidays with families and loved ones. As the Christmas rush begins, the need to stay safe is paramount. This is why the Federal Road Safety Commission has deployed 36,224 personnel and 1,226 patrol logistics to facilitate vehicular movement nationwide. The special patrol operation is codenamed Operation Zero Tolerance to Road Traffic Crashes. The Lagos Sector Commander of the FRSC, Olusegun Ogungbemide, joins us now. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Right.
Great.
Give us a better understanding of this operation, Zero Tolerance to Road Traffic Crashes.
Yes, thank you very much. It's an operation that has actually become a tradition in Federal Road Safety Corps as an intervention towards the end of year patrol activities, when we know that there is an upsurge in, vehicular movement, people moving from one destination to the other. And you say it's quite ambitious, but that is our focus in line with our vision to eradicate road traffic crashes and create a safe motoring environment for Nigeria. And we have come to understand that you cannot outrightly stop crashes from happening.
Right.
But let us place our own vision on ground that we should not be tolerant despite the fact that crashes must occur. But let us place our template that we should be able to work towards a situation where we have zero tolerance, meaning that we are not going to even allow it at all. Every infraction shall be met with necessary sanction so that we can have zero crash at the end of the day.
All right. At this time, I wonder what the difference or the peculiarity of traveling patterns are this Christmas.
Yes.
Last year, you were here. We talked about people traveling and the rush, and so on. This year, from the report we're getting,
Yes.
is that people want to travel, but they are concerned about security-related issues. Of course, that is the security agencies and all of that. But when it comes to the number, the traffic of people traveling, do we have the same situation this year as we had last year?
Without being specific, because we've not really concluded on our traffic counts.
Okay.
But from what I saw yesterday and what I witnessed this morning, the upsurge is still there.
Wow.
The influx into Lagos, because I was at Kara end of Lagos as late as 5 p.m. yesterday. You still see people moving in drove, and I'm sure it's a last-minute rush to get one or two things from Lagos. But this morning at Bega, the number of vehicles I saw moving out of Lagos, and it's going to continue like that. One thing I've noticed is irrespective of the security situation in this country, like virtually most of the governors have made us to understand that it's not as bad as it's been projected. People are still traveling, and I still see this movement to be constant even till the beginning of next year.
Right. You said that the Corps has come up with a template to addressing the matter of zero tolerance to road traffic crashes. I'm wondering what the template is that is put in place.
Well, let me give kudos to the acting Corps Marshal for what we just witnessed recently. Some major corridors have been selected that are crash prone, that are heavy traffic prone, that have black spots and blind spots. And they've come to have this understanding that our presence on that corridor is quite important. Like, let me take, for example, now my own area of influence, Lagos-Ibadan Express Corridor. There have been injection of more vehicles along that corridor, that at every 10 kilometers, you see Federal Road Safety Corps presence. So we talk of visibility along that one. And for the township, In Lagos, you noticed one thing yesterday, that you noticed a lot of oranges all over the places. Now we call it Operation Orange Impact. That if you are able to hit gridlock within the township, it will reduce the traveling time on the express.
Really?
Assuming it takes you about 30 minutes to move from your motor park to the express, when the road will be free for you to move. You know, if you've already had the idea of from Lagos to Ibadan, it will take me just 2 hours.
Okay.
So if you take about 3 hours to get to the express from the motor park, you want to catch up with the time
Wow.
on the express,
Exactly.
which will eventually lead to
Yeah.
excessive speed.
Yeah.
And when there's loss of control, there's a crash, and fatal crash will occur. So what we did with Operation Orange Impact is to intervene in all the gridlock points so that we can ease traffic. So you have your time still close to what you actually plan out. Because what leads to night crashes, the man that is going to the east had already said, oh, I'm going to spend 7 hours. Let me leave my house by 6 a.m. And he spent 4 hours out of the 7 inside Lagos. And he will still have to catch up. So eventually, he will end up traveling at night. And maybe he's not the type that knows how to drive at night.
Exactly.
These are the crashes that occur at night. So we have a lot of things that we have really placed down, where, you know, we had our advocacy during the sensitization program that we must avoid speeding, avoid overloading, and also make sure we have good tires so that we can arrive alive. So these are all the things we have put in place, apart from the deployments of our operatives. In Lagos now, we have 57 vehicles deployed. We have about 6 ambulances at strategic places outside the motorbike quick intervention program that has been put in place since the beginning of this year, where the vehicles cannot get to when there are crashes. We have our motorbike ambulance that can meander through the traffic and get there while we expect the larger rescue team. So these are all the template that is enlarged. That's the national level. I'm just telling you at the Lagos level now that we have to say, okay, there's going to be enough advocacy, which is started right from January, on the need for us to drive so that we can keep alive.
All right. One very peculiar thing about people traveling now is overloading, especially for commercial vehicles. We see some of the buses sometimes load to the level where their boots are not able to close because they need to stuff all of the things they need to stuff with, and then people traveling with so many luggages and things. So how does the FRSC handle situations of overloading at times like this? Are there some flexible understanding here and there? You know, make us understand that. Because people must travel with things.
Issues that has to do with life.
Yes.
Well, it's not something we toy with or compromise. If you get to my office now, you see so many overloaded vehicles that have been pounded. And I will only use this avenue to talk to members of the public, especially our commuters. If you don't want your journey to be truncated, please avoid entering an overloaded vehicle, because we're not going to compromise that. Because, okay, you want to get to your destination, your vehicle is overloaded, and you end up getting stuck in a crash. So eventually, what have you gained?
Exactly.
Because so many people will travel this December, and so many will not still return by virtue of our own omission. So the essence of having the FRSC is to intervene on behalf of the commuters so that we can keep them alive. So we are not going to compromise on that. And anybody that escapes that window, I wouldn't know by any chance. If you escape Lagos, you cannot escape Ogun State. You cannot escape Oyo State. So what does it benefit you? Having said bye-bye to your members of the family in Lagos, and you end up being stalked along your way, because we are going to disengage all the passengers and send you back to where you are coming from. Because that thing you overlook, if you have compassion to the people, if you have compassion to the stress, we end up taking someone's life. And we are not ready for that this time around.
Right. Because some persons listening now may say, well, what I am holding is just one box, one thing. So if they go to the park and they see a vehicle, they just want to be part of it.
Yes.
So they do not really understand what overloading is and perhaps what overspeeding is. So we need to break that down.
We don't call it overspeeding, we call it speeding.
Okay.
Because when
Right.
you look at the environmental situation, you cannot really categorically say if it's actually overspeeding. Speeding is any speed that you run in excess of what the regulation says as per that particular location. If you are
How many people know?
If you are, they know. If you say how many people for you to be a driver, it's expected that you have gone through driving school.
Exactly.
And going through driving school, you must have seen the highway code and all the regulations that are there stated. You know what it takes to be on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We call it express. For saloons, it's 100 kilometers per hour. For commercial, it's 90. For buses, 90 and 80. All these things are well stated. And we know. It's only when we don't want to know. And for overloading, on the physical look of it, any loading that is beyond the compartment of your vehicle is overloading.
Exactly.
When you start hanging,
That would be difficult
when you start
in this
hanging,
Lagos.
when you start hanging loads at the outside the boot, and when you
on
have
the
it
roof of the
on,
car.
you have the acne permit and it's intact. We have over projection. And another one is the one that is being confirmed by the, the weighing, that if the tonnage is more than what the capacity of the vehicle can carry, is also noted. Those are for, dry cargoes and wet cargoes that are loaded at the port and various depot. So we have it there. So these are the things we look at for. Because when the pressure is on the vehicle and there's pressure on the road, is a conflict that creates the crashes we are talking about.
Interesting. We need to quickly go on a
Okay,
commercial break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Do stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with the Lagos Sector Commander of the FRSC, Olusegun Ogungbemide, who is speaking to us on how to keep safe during this festive period. And one question I would like for us to address, for you to address, is itemizing, those safety measures that drivers, passengers, motorists basically should observe to ensure their own safety, their passengers' safety, as well as the safety of other motorists.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think anytime we have reason to be on the road, safety should start from our homes. The first one is information about the terrain, the environment, the destination you are proceeding, because information is quite key. When you have an idea of what the road looks like, there's an obstruction on the road, there are bad roads, there are, just about the terrain. It gives you a kind of idea and preparedness on how to proceed on that journey. And the second one is your health. Are you really physically fit to proceed on that journey? Are you feeling sick? Are you tired? Are you stressed? Psychological effects of that journey. While the third one is the status of your car. Does it meet up with the minimum safety standard? Do you intend to proceed on a journey where you get stranded on the road due to any one fault or the other? It's important. While the fourth one has to be with the practical journey itself. How do you align with other road users? Because we always have this impression that they know what we know. That's why FRS will always say, for you to drive successfully on Nigerian roads, you must apply defensive driving technique. Ability to drive in the midst of all dangers. Assuming that you are the only one that actually know how to drive. You are not sure of the other man. So that need to be extra careful is there. I don't like using that connotation that, you should assume that all other road users are mad. You understand? But why we bring up that is when you assume they are mad, there's no one that is in his right sense that will go and embrace a madman on the road unless it's mad too. So what do? You become extra careful. Because the man that is ahead of you, he could decide to go left and trafficate right.
Exactly.
And you get confused.
And
You
we've
run
seen a
into
lot of
him.
these things.
A lot.
We've seen them.
It's not, some are not even having the lightning system at all. They can't be seen and you can't see them.
Yes.
That means their headlamps are not working and their other lights are not working. So what do? You create that distance while driving. I always say it, that for you to be a perfect driver on Nigerian roads today, you must be able to drive 4 vehicles at the same time. You drive for the man ahead of you. Think for him. You drive for the man that is coming at the back. That's the rear. That's the number 2. How do you do that? Your inner mirror, your side mirror. When it's coming on high speed, there's nothing that stops you from parking off the road for him to have his way. You drive for the man that is coming the other side. That's number 3, right?
Yeah.
Psychologically, the man could be looking at you. You think he's seeing you, but his eyes is in his mind. He left problems at home. He's still battling the problem behind the steering. You know, I say, how do we have it on collision? It's because the man's eyes are opening, but he's not seeing anybody.
Exactly.
So you should have an idea that he could veer off his own route and come and meet you. So you are guided and you drive your own vehicle. That is making 4. So if you're able to drive these 4 vehicles successfully, it's an indication that you are a good defensive driver. And that's what it takes. It's not about whether the road is good, even the road is bad. The ones that are good, what do we see? Deaths on daily basis due to our indiscipline when it comes to issue of speed. So when the road is bad, I always have something at the back of my mind. Somebody passed that road, and I didn't meet the person on that road. It's an indication that he drove through that road successfully. So I should be able to do same. So these are the things that should be our guiding principle during this season when we are driving.
Yeah, that means driving requires a lot of mental alertness.
A
lot of it.
It's not something you get distracted while behind the steering.
Now, talk to us about phone calls during driving, because these are some of, especially within the town.
Yes.
We see a lot of phone calls during during somebody's driving, and then he has to pick a call to say hello to someone, and all of that. Some people even send texts. Let me just reply this before, as the case may be.
If you have to place it on percentage, I would think Nigerians are failed when it comes to issue of use of phone while driving. You can, if you happen to stay by the roadside and count 20 vehicles, you can be sure that despite the level of enforcement, I wouldn't know whether it's an instinct or deliberate attempt to go against the law. You will count about 18 people making calls while driving. And it's so ridiculous that some will even hold it for you to see.
Wow.
Some will even, you said it, more ridiculous, some will even be texting. You see someone that is being held by traffic lights, and when the traffic light says go, nobody is moving. Because it's busy.
He wants to quickly reply a message or something. Wow.
There is nothing that has created much problem on our roads more than distracted driving. Driving does not give room for a second distraction. So when you make calls, people will say, I have air free, hand free. It's not about what free. It's about calls, it's about what goes inside you. And that's why if I say use of phone, we didn't say holding of phones. No, that's not the infraction. They use irrespective of the dimension you are using, whether it's hand-free, whether it's toothpick, whether it's a Bluetooth, as long as, because what matters is the information that comes into you, either good or bad.
Yes.
When you receive an information that is terrible, that, you lost somebody, it's not whether you are holding it. The same impact, even when you win lottery, is the same impact.
Yeah.
So what we are saying is, when you know that call is compulsory, what do? Find a way out of the traffic, park and receive that call. It saves your life. So many people have lost their lives. And when we get there, that same phone that caused their death is there.
It's still there, exactly.
Okay, for want of time, quickly, I want you to quickly address those who take substances to keep alert, because you talked about we need to stay. It requires alertness to drive. There are those who take liquor, one thing or the other, to stay alert.
Yes, we call it driving under the influence. That's a DUI, the influence of alcohol or drugs. And I'll have good news for them, that our men have been well equipped with enough breathalyzers. We might not be able to check all drivers on the road, but it's sampling. And when it falls on you and you happen to be guilty, that journey stops, especially the commercial drivers. So I want to use this opportunity to talk to the motor parks managers that when you know this driver is not clean, please don't allow him to proceed on that journey. Because there's nothing that impair your judgments other than being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. That's why you can afford to overtake 10 vehicles at a go, because they look so insignificant to you. So it's dangerous, we all know, and we are out to enforce, and we'll make sure we do all that is needful to protect Nigerians.
Interesting. We'll leave the conversation here now, but we must thank you, Lagos Sector Commander of the FRSC, Olusegun Ngbemide, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.